So last night I did ayahuasca, but this story, it didn't start here. Okay, so I'm out here, and this is actually the Ayahuasca Vine. So I planted this about 7 years ago. You see this nice, beautiful twist she has. That's kind of what the experience is like. Now, for those of you that don't know, ayahuasca is usually a brew made up of a few different plants. And there's a few different types of ceremonies and a few different types of, I guess, almost like religions or cultures around the use of that plant. So primarily, the first time I went and sat with a shaman, I was sitting with a Shapibo Shaman, which is kind of like one of the traditional ayahuasca shamans. Now this vine, the ayahuasca or Banisteriopsis vine, contains what's known as an MAOI, or a monoamino oxidase inhibitor. And the reason why this plant is so powerful is because it turns off a part of your digestive system that allows the uptake and regulation of certain compounds within your bloodstream. So there are other plants that you add to this brew. Primarily the charcuna plant, or the leaves of this plant, are usually what contain the DMT in the Shapibo tribes. Now, there are other plants like Mimosa hostilis that you could also mix with this inhibitor and still have very similar effects. But the point of the inhibitor is that let's use coffee as an example. I think it's a great example. Normally when you drink coffee, you could drink coffee all day, and your stomach, the enzymes in your stomach, the monoamino oxidase, that's how you say it, they regulate how much caffeine can go into your bloodstream at any given moment. So when you turn that system off, if you were to drink a coffee, it would be like hundreds of times stronger than a normal coffee. So this allows the uptake of the dimethyltryptamine inside of the charcuna or the mimosa plant to go into your system. This is a very powerful plant, and it's often where you get a lot of the purging and experience of like vomiting from, and also the important reason for a dieta, or a diet, I guess in English. The reason being is if you have certain chemicals in your stomach, like the arginine in avocados, or some of the stuff that's in shellfish or meat or chocolate, caffeine, it can be very detrimental to your system once that monoamino oxidase is actually turned off. So for me, my first time doing ayahuasca was back in 2008 in Guatemala with a Shapibo shaman named Christina. Now she commonly will come out into Costa Rica and do ceremonies as well. This woman is a beautiful, like grandmother-like figure. She could sing for hours and hours. And the experiences are extremely overwhelming. You know, again, I don't suggest anyone take ayahuasca unless you feel very called to do so. So last night I sat again, and it had been probably about 3 years since the last time I sat. It's something I'm going to add to my calendar probably on an annual basis because of how beneficial the experience was. But maybe to go over some of the stuff I learned at the experience, let's walk away from this lovely ayahuasca plant and all these beautiful vines and the twists and turns that she leaves. Okay, so this brings me to last night's ayahuasca ceremony. Now, it was a little bit different than the first few times I sat. When I was studying in Peru these were all very traditional Shapibo shamans. They were some of like the birthplace of ayahuasca. Last night's ayahuasca ceremony was something called Santo Daime, which is basically the Brazilian version, which has some of its roots and kind of traditions blended with basically Christianity. So you hear, you know, Yeshua's name a little bit. There's a bit more hymn. They have like books that you can read from, and these are one of the groups that do ayahuasca effectively, I guess, in the United States as well. They have like a legal ceremony capability to use this plant medicine as a religious setting. So the difference between the ceremony, even though there's like a religious context to it, the plant medicine is so powerful and overwhelming that it's almost impossible to tell that there is any type of background relationship to it in the first place. So it's a pretty common thing. Again, you focus on the dieta, which is an extremely important aspect so that you don't get too sick and that you can enjoy a ride. You wait till the evening because you kind of want to be in like not a fully awake state. You want to have a little bit of your body kind of pushed down. That way you're not too energetic during the moment, so you can be relaxed and meditative. Everybody sits, you meet one another, give everyone hugs in this kind of, you know, weird time, and then you drink. It's a small cup. I only drank a small cup this time, and it was more than enough to get me going. So drink a small cup, and for some reason it kind of reminds me of this like very thick chocolate blueberry like flavor that you get from the experience. Like, wait, chocolate blueberries? You're kidding, right? No, that's kind of what it reminds me of. But the next time you drink it, you definitely don't want to. I went to go drink a second cup and my body was like, no, no thank you. Luckily I didn't vomit, but again, that was because I took around a 72-hour diet, where for 72 hours I didn't eat or drink anything other than like some pineapple juice and a little bit of like fruit. Again, you want to be very careful with what you put in your stomach. So you sit down, you take this drink, you're thankful, you close your eyes, and it comes on quickly. Now, for those of you that have ever done DMT, it's like very fast. Because of the monoamino oxidase inhibitor, you're looking at maybe like a 15-minute wait time. So you close your eyes, like, I wonder if it's going to come, and you start to feel it. It feels like a rush going up your body. And what's interesting is that there's these little shadow beings and characters that I've become friends with. Now, I'll say I can meet aliens or entities, a very common experience. I've seen them multiple times, and as soon as the ayahuasca, like the DMT vision started fluttering, what I got was this, all the shadow workers were like, hey, it's good to see you again. Why did it take you so long to come back here? Like, we missed you, you know, like, you should do this more frequently so that we can see you. And it's just like this of color, geometric shape intertwining over one another, and it almost looks like snake scales or something, like, and it feels like they kind of check you out and decide how far on the ride you get to go. Like, okay, well, how is your body doing? How's your mind doing? And then once the shadow kind of, I think people call them machine elves too. Like, I think Joe Rogan calls them the machine elves. When I first did ayahuasca in 2008, I saw them as shadow beings. Like, they're the ones who would run along. You'd see them like run along a leaf, and then all of a sudden they would like push the leaf off, and then the leaf would fall. They're like these subtle characters of change in this beautiful world that we live in. And that was like that's like the first kind of entities and spirits that you meet, and they check you out. Again, they like buckle you in for the ride. They see how far you can go, and then you get sent out the gate. Now, 15 minutes into it, I'm just like, lay down, heavy breathing, keep the body cycling. There's always this thought of like, am I going to be okay? Am I going to survive? Am I dying? Like, I think there's a unique relationship about these because of how your body kind of initially relates to taking ayahuasca in the first place. So it's a very high likelihood, if you've ever studied Dr. Rick Strassman's book, DMT, the Spirit Molecule, that a lot of this stuff is released when you're born and when you die. So there's probably this innate response from your body that's like, oh my God, am I dying right now? Like, I hope I'm not dying right now. So even though I'm, like well versed in the psychedelic world, I've done ayahuasca almost 15 times in the last, since 2008? Around 12 years? Yeah. So like once or twice I did it more than once in a year. That's actually more than that. Anyways, it doesn't matter. We won't get into the semantics of how many times I've done ayahuasca. It's unimportant to this conversation. And as these visions start to come on, I started to see all this beauty that I had forgotten. Just small things, like the importance of everybody, that everybody's divine, even though some of you make it very hard to recognize on certain days that you are divine. I'm like, everybody is this divine miracle. This whole experience, these plants, this little dog, it's just like this divine revelation of this, all of these miraculous things happening. The fact that there's a climate temperature on the planet that we get to live in, so you just get overwhelmed with these visions of the importance of kind of like the moment of now. There's a few other really clear visions I got, and one of the reasons why we're doing this vlog is because the entities, I don't know what else to call them, were like, hey, you've got a platform where thousands of people watch your videos. Like, do you know how incredible that is? How amazing it is that if you want to share something, other people get to witness that vision that you're sharing. I realized that the Arcane Bear channel is this amazing platform where we get to share our experience with people all around the world. Something I never would have imagined. You know, there's this gift I've been given, and they're like, look, the camera is one of your main instruments now, so please use it to share these stories more often. So part of the trip is for me, guys, is to do more of these vlogs with you. Even though they have nothing to do with trading or investing, I am so grateful for the opportunity to have the Arcane Bear as a platform to be able to share these unique experiences. Look, I'm not perfect. I'm a human being. I make mistakes all the time. I've done tons of stuff in my life, and that's the point, is we're all human beings. And again, even though we're all, you know, it might be difficult for some of us to recognize that divinity, it's important to go out to look at the stars. Like, I laid under the stars. I'm like, how has it taken me so long to remember to lay under the stars? Like, what were you thinking? Don't ever do that again. The other clear vision I got was just to be like very grateful for my friends. Where's my lighting here? Yeah, there we go. To be very grateful for your friends and for your family. So I called up my family members, like, hey, I love you guys. Thank you. Staring at the stars for the last part of the evening, listening to all this beautiful music that the shamans were playing, witnessing my friends sing and their enjoyment of the journey as well. This is all a miracle. You know, I don't really have much more to say. There are a few other visions I got that were like more personal and for me specifically, but I'll leave it at that. Anyways, guys, that was my ayahuasca experience from last night. And I want to get much better at doing these vlogs. We might even try to hire a full-time We're going to try to hire a full-time video editor and creator so that we can do more of this stuff frequently, because I'm not great at it, but I love doing it. I mean, we used to do vlogs all the time, and I know it's not going to make us popular, but I love doing it. It's like an art form, and I'm grateful for the fact that I have a platform where I can share my journey, like this kind of video diary. So thank you, guys. This is Tia with the Arcane Bear. I am deeply grateful for the fact that we get to share these moments with you guys. It means the absolute world to me. When I pass away, when I die, whenever that may come, I'll know that some of these moments that we've shared with you have been some of my most favorite of my life and journey so far. So thank you for supporting us. This is Tia with the Arcane Bear.